Around the world, cities compete to create buildings that are not just structures, but symbols. Landmarks that define skylines, attract millions, and showcase the limits of human engineering. In Abu Dhabi, one such dream began not as a simple office tower, but as a bold vision to build the world's first circular skyscraper. Inspired by the elegance of a seashell, it would test every rule of architecture, engineering, and time itself. On the request of Abu Dhabi's sheikh, the engineering team was making a building in the shape of a seashell. In the very last phase of the construction, a strange problem put an obstacle in the middle. The steel frame of the building had bent down from one side, which meant that more than half the structure should be rebuilt. On the one hand, there was going to be an event of Formula One Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi, due to which there was already very little time left. On the other hand, the construction team was stuck in a deadlock. According to the wealth of Abu Dhabi's former Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, he was the fourth richest king in the world. Apart from a total of 98 billion oil barrel reserves, his family owns $830 billion. This was the reason why cities like Dubai often needed Sheikh Khalifa. You may already know that the tallest building in the world was first named Burj Dubai. But then, during its construction, Dubai began to run out of money and construction work had to be stopped. Abu Dhabi's sheikh helped Dubai financially to complete this building, and that is why its name was removed from Burj Dubai and kept Burj Khalifa. Sheikh Khalifa also saw a dream to attract international tourists in Abu Dhabi. He wanted to make a way to run the economy besides oil. He wanted to build an international standard city on Al Raha Beach, which would have all the luxuries that a Western tourist needs for beach resorts, shopping malls, parks, and entertainment. But it took investors to do this. To attract investors and to make the dream of Al Raha Beach City come true, Sheikh Khalifa made a plan to build the most unique building in the world. This building was to be the headquarters of Aldar Properties, which is the development partner company of the Abu Dhabi government. Sheikh wanted the design of the building to be something that no one had ever made before. And its beauty should be such that the viewer should keep looking at it for hours. In that era, just a few kilometers away from Abu Dhabi, where iconic buildings were being built one after the other in Dubai, making a unique and iconic design was full of many difficulties. Finally, after thinking for several months, an idea came, and this idea was made by looking at a seashell. This design was very simple, but it was so difficult to make it. A building like a round circle with a height of 25 floors, whose size was bigger than the Statue of Liberty, its curved glass outer shell was as big as 4 football fields. Making it on an artificial land on the sea was a work that no one had ever done in history. Normally, square and rectangle skyscrapers are built everywhere, but it was going to become a kind of a genre for which the engineers had to work with a new thought. After the design was approved by Sheikh, the second stage was to make artificial land on the construction site. Because the place where the Aldar Headquarters had to be built, the sea was present there. Yes, 26 feet deep sea. For this work, so much sand was needed that the world's largest swimming pool, City Stars, in Egypt, could be filled from the bottom to the top. After putting 30 million cubic meters of sand, artificial land was made here, but another serious problem arose with it. As soon as the sand of the artificial land was dug, the water of the sea started coming out of it. That is, one thing was certain, that if a foundation was built here in this condition, then the dream of this iconic building weighing millions of tons could turn into a bad dream at any moment. Now, to deal with this problem, the engineers decided to make a D-wall, which is also called a diaphragm wall. A thick concrete wall was placed 16 meters below the sand so that seawater could not enter this wall. After the D-wall was built, a thick concrete slab was placed at the bottom of it so that seawater could not enter the D-wall from below. This slab was so thick that 2,000 trucks filled with concrete were used to make it. Now it was time to put the foundation of the building. Normally, to make the foundation of megastructures, steel piles are drilled up to the stones present in the ground so that the building remains strong. But the Aldar Headquarters was very different from other megastructures. Because one, it was built on the shore of the sea, and the other, its shape was such that extra air pressure could fall on it. For this reason, before putting the foundation piles, it was necessary to know how much wind pressure could fall on the Aldar Headquarters. For this, a model of the building was sent for a wind tunnel test. Wind engineers throw air pressure on the model from different angles, and then with the help of complex calculations, the force applied on the building is estimated. Keeping this force in mind, the engineers decided to put 400 steel piles at the Aldar Headquarters. While the world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa's foundation, had 192 steel piles. After drilling the piles, the next challenge was to make a round shape. A round shape whose shape was also like a seashell. Its walls were covered with window panels and a magnificent view of the Persian Gulf could be seen from every corner of it. There were two ways to do this. The first was to cast the whole building with concrete and give it a round shape. But a lot of time was required for this and the construction team did not have time. Yes, Abu Dhabi had to host its first Formula One Grand Prix, which people from all over the world were coming to see. Sheikh wanted this Aldar Headquarters to be ready before the Formula One event. For this, he had given the construction team only 30 months to build this iconic building, out of which 5 months had already been reduced. For this reason, to save time, it was decided to make 2 concrete cores and attach the prefabricated steel frames around it in such a way that it becomes the shape of a seashell. 2 concrete cores were made into a single piece and used the slipform technique to take them up to a height of 125 meters. Concrete was poured into the steel molds and the molds were slowly pulled up. This resulted in 2 single-piece cores without joining. It took 6 months to make these cores and surprisingly 6,500 tons of steel were used. Now only 19 months were left in the deadline. At this time, steel frames had to be made around these cores, glass facades, and then the interior design work had to be done, which takes the most time. In normal buildings, the steel frame is straight, but the steel frame to be installed in the Aldar Headquarters had to be made in curved shape with pinpoint accuracy in such a way that there is no room for even 1 millimeter. A whole team of steel fabricators were busy cutting 2,500 tons of steel and giving it a curved shape. Each frame was 30 tons heavy and they had to make about 100 frames like this and attach them to each other on the side, which was like solving a giant puzzle. Making this steel frame was a very difficult task, on the one hand, and transporting it from the factory to the site was also a very difficult task. Each frame weighed about 25 sedan cars. With the help of big cranes, they were slowly started to attach them around the cores. This was a very time-consuming job, so now the construction team had to pay attention to the interior of the building as well as the glass panels. 25,000 glass panels were to be installed on this steel frame, the total size of which was more than 52 basketball courts. These were not ordinary glass panels, but they were triangular-shaped curved glass panels. The manufacturing team installed them on the site itself to finish the job quickly. As the steel frame was being made, the glass installation team was also fitting glass panels in it. Time was passing very quickly. The engineering team was fighting a war in which the competition was actually against time. On the other hand, 85 washroom units had to be made inside the Aldar Headquarters. The engineering team came up with a very good solution for this. They decided to make prefabricated washrooms, in which everything is already pre-installed. The plan was that the prefabricated washroom units would just be picked up at the end and sent down from the top of the building and placed in their respective places. This idea was very good, but it was necessary for Sheikh to immediately accept the design of the washroom modules. Sheikh liked the idea very much, but he did not like the design of the washroom modules. Therefore, the new design of the washroom modules had to be made on order, which took a lot of time. Because of this, the 2 sections of the steel frame, which was now close to completion, had to be left incomplete, from where the washroom modules would be sent down with the help of a crane. On the one hand, the task of installing the glass panels was to quickly move towards the destination. On the other hand, the engineering team was troubled by the late delivery of the washroom modules. Because for so long, leaving the 2 sections of the steel frame open was also a kind of danger, which was going to befall them in the next few days. The 12-ton 85 washroom units had now reached the site. After their installation, when the time came to close the 2 open sections of the steel frame, a very serious problem arose. One part of the steel frame was sitting 6 inches below. This meant that many frames should be reopened and then reinstalled. But this was not possible in any case because now only 8 months were left. The curved steel frame of the Aldar Headquarters was its real life. The steel sections in it were putting all the weight on the foundation below. If even one section of these was removed, the foundation would not be able to carry the weight and the entire building could collapse in a short time. This was a problem that arose during the construction of the Aldar Headquarters, which put the entire construction team in trouble. Finally, the steel engineer presented a solution. A load-bearing wall was built on the course and hydraulic jacks were installed on it. With the help of these jacks, both parts of the frame were started to be lifted. The arch of the bent steel frame had gradually returned to its position. The remaining steel section was also installed, and finally the structure of the Aldar Headquarters was completely completed. Just a few weeks before Abu Dhabi's first Formula One event, this giant seashell-like beautiful structure was completed after installing 25,000 glass panels. The engineering team completed this project in just 30 months and did such a feat that will always be remembered in history. What rose on Abu Dhabi's shore was not just a building, but a message. That with enough vision, wealth, and determination, even the sea itself could be conquered. The Aldar Headquarters stands today as the world's first circular skyscraper. A monument to human creativity and the relentless pursuit of the impossible. Proof that sometimes, when engineering meets imagination, the result is nothing short of history carved in glass and steel.
Thank you.